These are civilians, a new job type in Stellaris that is essentially happy unemployed workers. By default, they give you a little bit of amenities and a little bit of trade. Essentially, they're clerks. Rest in peace, clerks. They're mainly there to get your economy started at the start of the game and act as pops to migrate to new colonies to then work better jobs. That's what the devs intended. But what if we only employed civilians by unemploying every single job on all planets? Can it work? Well, slight spoiler ahead, but in this video, I'm going to show you that it might be the strongest empire build you can do, getting an absurd amount of unity and technology right at the start of the game. But it's all with the right combinations to make a perfect storm. So in this video, I'm going to walk through every step so you can dominate the galaxy with only civilians. So here is the build. Everything here is vitally important, so I'm going to run through it real quick. Now, I just want to note before we get into this is recorded on 4.0.9. Patches have been coming out rapidly, and I really wanted to do a civilian only run. I've been waiting for it to basically kind of be nerfed, and they have nerfed it. Consumer goods now get an upkeep to civilians for the monument, and there's some other nerfs to civilians. I think that's enough for me to go crazy. Anything that does nerf it, I still think this challenge can work. It might not be as OP, but it's still really good. Now, in terms of the build, we're going to start at species and portrait, because that's right, meta builds now need specific portraits. This turtle gives us access to two specific traits that not many portraits can get, and that's shelled, which reduces pop housing usage by -75% and gives 10% habitability. This is important because we want as many civilians as we possibly can. So reducing housing increases pop growth and lets us cram as many as we can in for basically free. The next is seasonal dormancy. This reduces unemployed and denizen pop upkeep by -75%. What is a denizen? That is a civilian, which we're only going to have. So reducing upkeep of them by 75% is insane. Employed upkeep's reduced, we're not employing anyone. We've then got repugnant, which reduces entertainer jobs efficiency, we're not working them, it's free. Quarrelsome is the same, we're not working bureaucrats, so get them gone. We then do have clone soldiers, and that's because we're going clones. This starts us off with a bunch of clone vats, but we can't reproduce naturally. We need as many pops as we can. This is the fastest way of getting pops from an origin, so we're running with that. We then have our ethics, government, and civics. We have to go fanatic egalitarian. This will give us faction resource output 50%. Specialist pop output doesn't matter. This combines with democratic, giving us more faction approval and more faction output for our ruler level, which then combines with parliamentary system, which gives faction resource output 40%. So we're going to get a lot from our factions, which will form straight away, because parliamentary also forms them straight away. This gives you a whole host of unity. It's insane. As our second ethic pick, it does not matter what you go. I'm going xenophile, as I did a test run with chat on the stream where we went materialist for the research speed, but we didn't really need it. And I think the trade from jobs, as I learned, actually does apply to civilians. It's actually going to be really, really beneficial. So I think xenophile might be the best, but you could even go pacifist to reduce empire size from pops, xenophobe for more pop growth, militarist for ship fire rate. You can do what you want there. We're then going civil education, where the reason we've gone it isn't even on here. It's to do with the state academy, but the bonuses for civilians don't show up here. So I'll show you that when we're in game. It does give upkeep reduction from jobs, which is always nice for the civilians, but it's mainly that state academy buff, the reason we're going for it. Then we're going biological ships, as you can make empty biological ships and then let them grow up into really strong things. That really helps with civilians because it's going to be hard to get resources. It also replaces some minerals and alloy costs with food, which helps spread out what resources we need for different things. We're not going to have just a massive excess of food, luckily. The starting system actually matters. Soul is one of the best consistent starts you can do for Dyson Swarm and Arc Furnace. We just know we'll get that, and we're going to have to rely on killer structures, vassals, for resources, essentially, to actually scale this build even further. We've then gone Spark of Genius for the research speed, of course. Now, Parliamentary is slightly bugged, where it just produces an insane amount of unity, which might get a fix. However, this does not matter. In the stream that we did testing this, I finished all traditions in about 15 years or something ridiculous. We don't need to go that quick. It produces unity early, which is why we're going it. That is not going to be fixed in the bug because that's how it's intended. But if it is nerfed, numbers might be a little bit different for unity, but I honestly had too much unity. I didn't even know what to spend it on. It needs to be nerfed. it doesn't affect this challenge or build that is probably actually meta, which is ridiculous. In terms of settings, we're going Grand Admiral, default EP4 settings, small galaxy, max AIs, fallen empires, mid-game scaling, just so we don't get screwed in the spawn, bed up the pop growth by 2 ticks right, 2 ticks left, lower tech cost. Again, these don't really matter, it just means the game's a bit faster. Also, we don't actually grow pops early, so this benefits the AI more than me. Lower habitability. Cybrex is probably the best precursor you can do with this build. And then mid-game at year 50, end-game 100, you can customize these settings as you wish. They don't really matter. This build works on any tech tradition. It's just so the game's a bit quicker. These also apply to AI, so it's not like it's 0.5 for me and 1 times for the AI. Now, the key thing that I love about this build is how consistent it is early game. However, there's a bit of setup, so we'll get into that. I mean, this spawn is ridiculous, but even if you had an awful spawn, it would still work. The first thing we're going to do is look at our planet. This disgusting planet with jobs. How dare they? We're not working any of these jobs. So let's remove all the buildings and districts that have an upkeep that we're not working, because early game is the toughest to get going, but once you get it going, it's insane. So let's delete this hollow theater as it has an upkeep and jobs that we're not working. Same as the commercial zone. The clone vats we want to keep, as these are just going to give us monthly organic pop growth and it sustains our population. We can only actually have 5,000 pops on this planet and we're at 4.8. So we're going to need to build more vats. And we are just going to stay on this planet. Just to show how consistent this is, I'm just going to build on this capital until we actually go fertility later on in the game. Now here's what State Academy does. It gives research 0.5 per 100 civilians, but gives a consumer good upkeep to those civilians. So it's not free, but it does produce a bunch of tech, which is what we're going to utilize. You can build 3 of these on a planet. It used to be uncapped as well. Yes, this build's already been nerfed a bunch. You could build state academies in every single slot. It was dumb. It was very dumb. Now let's get rid of the civilian industry, all the city districts, all of the generator districts, all the mining districts, and all the agricultural districts. We don't want to pay for that upkeep, and housing doesn't matter because we are shelled. Next, of course, come over to economy, delete the elites, delete the physicists, delete the biologists. Everyone goes unemployed and will become civilians. No one shall work. You shall all be civilians. So the text is screaming at you up here. Let's have a look. Pick just good ones that don't necessarily need jobs, like research speed. We don't care about research upkeep because we're not working researchers, but we will get the speed because we're still researching. Society, again, we don't need xenobiological labs because we don't work biologists. This trade hub will be useful later on in the game, but we want to build hydro bays, so that won't be till later on. Let's grab the monthly unity. Unity is nice. Here again, we don't actually need worker pop output. We don't need material workshop. Let's just grab the armor. That will help later on in the game. Then we will come over to government, policy and edicts. Change your diplomatic stance to isolationist as it gives you 10% more unity. Unity is very, very important early game because it will get everything going, and we don't care about outpost build cost. Now we will come over to the species tab. Then you will come over to living standards and apply utopian abundance. This gives you 20% happiness, but unemployed pops will have normal happiness and civilians will produce unity and research points. Civilians will get a +1 consumer good upkeep. That's fine. We lowered that by -75% if you remember. And job efficiency for civilians goes up 20%. So more unity and science from all of the stuff that we're getting unity and science for. And yes, utopian stacks with state academy. So that's just more science. Next up, we're going to go over to market, add a new monthly trade and buy the max amount of consumer goods, which if you're like me, I always do 26 like an idiot, but it's actually 21. These numbers are from my Discord linked in the description, which basically tells you the monthly you can buy so that inflation doesn't kick in. The base price is 2.6. If you buy too much, this bumps up the number massively, which then continues to spiral if you're buying monthly. So 21 will always reset back down to 2.6. We're then going to probably wait for the market to stabilize because we did delete a lot of jobs. I'll buy a couple minerals as we do want to get that going, sell some food. We need to see what year 2 has for us. Next, I'm going to survey our biggest world, but we are going to stay on our capital. It doesn't really matter. And then we will split our starting fleet. And then with the Mauler, we'll put our leader on and send them to explore, as military ships can go into unexplored space with a leader. That means we can try and find someone, which then maybe we can vassalize them, who knows. And with our construction ship, we will start building on Mars. Now the first thing we're going to want to try and build is the monument, as this will give us more unity from job, more unity per civilians, with a little bit of consumer good upkeep. However, civilians will gain additional effects from our empire's ethics, trade, upkeep reduction, and ethics attraction. This is going to help our factions, and also trade is going to go insane. So we definitely want to get this as soon as we can, because our trade is not looking too good, I do have to say. We will try and fix the economy a bit more, just altering the numbers so that we're like basically at net zero for energy and food, but positive on consumer goods and minerals. Now our factions have formed because of parliamentary. Whichever one's the biggest, I'm going to promote, and then we're going to do benevolent policy on policies and edicts. It's free. I don't really care too much. And our planet does look like it's in complete pain, but that's because of all the unemployed jobs. When they demote to civilians, it will be a lot better. Don't worry. So we're 80 minerals off. That's 2 months. Can now build the monument. That's going to help so much. That trade is seriously no joke. And you can see why we were buying consumer goods at the start, because now all of the pops are becoming civilians, which is giving a hefty consumer good upkeep. However, look at that science of unity. It's about to go to the moon. We're at 184 science this early, 51 unity. For 1 month, getting our tradition. We can now go our tradition. We absolutely have to go mercantile. When we adopt this, it's not going to do anything. We can't work traders. But in 2 months, when we get the unity, and also our unity is going to start going up massively because the pops are starting to join the factions as time goes on. We can now adopt our next policy, and we're absolutely going to go for adaptive economic policy. This will give us different policies for our trade. If we take that, we can go over to policies and edicts and come over to trade policy. Instead of 50% of trade going to energy credits, we can turn 25% of trade into consumer goods. Consumer goods are way more valuable to us than energy, and we can't buy any more consumer goods. So this is going to help out an absolute ton. The issue is our energy collapses, our consumer goods collapse a little bit. But once we play this out, it should start to stabilize. We're at -8. It's starting to get better. When we get this monument up and running, it's going to completely fix it. Trust me. In terms of the next tradition, we're obviously going to make more trade from our civilians. There's a 0.1 upkeep for civilians. I don't care about that because we're going to make more consumer goods off that. You now see we are producing positive consumer goods. Very nice. Next up, we may as well get more trade from jobs. That's going to benefit again. Economy's starting to stabilize. You can see how this could be bad if you didn't optimize and do a couple runs to figure out what the heck is going on. But now we also have the monument, which means that consumer goods and trade is now completely fixed. We are out of the hellhole. Now we can buy maximum of every single resource, which is 42 minerals, 42 energy, 42 food, and 10 alloys. We want to get that going as early as possible because this is just going to give us stuff over time now that we can then use to build other things. Trade's a little bit ropey there, but it should be fixed because we can reduce market fee by 10%, which is going to help a lot. You can see we're now positive, and then we can finish off Mercantile because now we have 219 unity. This is what I meant by factions going a bit crazy. Even if this number's reduced, we don't necessarily need this much unity this early. It does help though. Mercantile's now finished, so we get 10% monthly trade, which you guessed it, means our economy goes even crazier. And in terms of Ascension perk, unity is not an issue. So let's just go research speed. We're already on our next tradition. Yeah, it goes mad. It definitely goes mad. I want more research speed. Research means good, which means discovery, which the finisher will give us research speed. I may as well go. Now our economy is basically fixed. We can focus on exploring and serving. I'll get a science ship. We can start expanding to planets, which we will eventually colonize once we go fertility, which that event hasn't even spawned yet to do with the origin. And we're already like partway through that origin. It's done. I should have probably gone statecraft actually, for the XP to leaders. So let's just wait a little bit to activate this. You can see this isn't even optimal. Now, food from star bases is actually useful, even though these give more to jobs. That's fine. On our starting starbase as well, we can produce a Hydra Bay, which gives us 10 food, which is going to help. And we are looking for assembly patterns, which we got on our second run. This will give automation, which means we can actually then start to work jobs. We absolutely want this technology as soon as we can. Now, next, we can make a few decisions. Do we spam ancient clone vats? Probably as we're at max, we should definitely build that next. But then do we start getting more state academies? We probably do want more state academies, but we can't build them. We got no more slots. But what we can do is actually replace these with urban expansions, which then we can build more state academies and clone vats. Now let's grab statecraft. I mainly just want this so we can get XP when we launch an agenda. These our leaders can be really strong. Grab that. Launch this. Everyone levels up. More research speed. More happiness. Trade from jobs is very good. That means more trade. Now, let's change the mix industry into an urban expansion so we can build more state academies. As we've got the consumer goods to pump our tech a bit higher, you can see now the faction's going crazy. I don't know why it's producing this much. It just keeps going up. It's ridiculous. Reducing crime is very nice. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but because we got automation so quickly, global energy management's very good because we can actually then build automation in the energy district, which then pays for itself, and then maybe more automations. Then when I expand the council. Now, after this point, you can basically do whatever you want. We're just trying to stack up as much as you can, but I'll show you what I have been doing. Now, we definitely want to reduce pop consumer good upkeep. That's going to reduce the consumer goods that are being used. Actually, does it? I think we might already be at 100%. Let me check. Yeah, so you can see we actually have a base of 0. So we actually already have reduced our consumer good upkeep by minus 75%. But activating that edict does nothing. But we can make XP go a bit more crazy. We can go more survey speed, and then we can start expanding. Building star bases will be the next boon to our economy, I reckon. Okay, now we have the urban expansion. We can build that state academy, which is just going to increase our science even more. We'll see what it does to our consumer goods. We probably can only afford 1 at the minute. And now we finally got the debated origin. This makes an excavation site, which we're going to want to do as soon as we can. Now, we didn't get lucky and get a excavation leader. If you have one, grab that, but you definitely want to start it as soon as you possibly can. Okay, the state academy is about to go. We're at 232 tech, 56 consumer goods. Now we're 342 minus 12. But yeah, we can't build another one, unfortunately. But what we can build is more ancient clone vats. The more we have, the more organic pot growth. So let's get both of them going. And our tech's going through the roof. It's just mental. Statecraft's now done, which reduces our empire size. We want to stay below 100 as much as we can, because then we don't get extra costs to traditions and techs. And for the next ascension perk, honestly, yeah, one vision, 10% does not matter. We will have too much unity. So I don't actually know what to go here. We could go executive vigor, which will give us 15% council agenda speed, which is probably the only decent one, or we can just leave it. Let's go for the agenda speed. It's new. The edict fund does not really matter for us at the minute. But what does matter is that we can now specialize. Now, we do need one of the districts to actually specialize. So we'll build that. Once the clone vats are done, start producing more and more pops that are all just being civilians. Now, what you do need to watch is that educators and other buildings will work the jobs, which is really annoying, but we'll decrease those when we can. It should all be good. Now, we can also build a clone vat, which doesn't increase how many soldier jobs we can sustain, but it gives us more pop growth, which is something we're going to want. And then we can specialize once we get 1,000 minerals. But we're what, 6 years into the game? We have 383 science, 641 unity. The unity is mainly from our factions, which is probably going to get nerfed. Enjoy it while we have it. Now, crime will be a continued issue. It is maybe worth looking for a governor that reduces crime. We did not get one, but I did get a scientist that can do excavation quicker. So we'll hire you and then get rid of you, plop him on, and then we'll just fire the extra guy because I want to go over the limit because I want as much XP as we can. And I just fired the wrong guy. What have I just done? No, I'm an idiot. Oh well, we'll hire you and hopefully you get the crime down. Well, you got the trade, double trade. It was worth it, guys. It was worth it. This should bump up our trade a lot. There we go. Look at it go. We're now getting both of the specialization buildings, which we can eventually automate. Perfect. Discovery's now finished. 10% more research speed. We're just boosting that research speed, which directly helps the research, which is up to 419 now. And then we could go a different ascension. To actually go biomorphosis, we actually need to finish the clone ascension, which takes way longer than we can get to. But we're going to wait. It's worth it. But because of that, we have the ascension perk. I may as well take galactic force projection as we'll take it in the future to get vassals with our insane fleets that we will slowly build into. Now, to get those bioships and biomorphosis, you need the new Biogenesis DLC. If you're thinking about getting Stellaris or any DLC, make sure to use my link in the description or code EP3Stellaris on the Paradox store. It will give you a Steam key and it will give my channel a cut of the sale, which greatly helps support the channel and you get to enjoy the game. Greatly appreciated. Now back to the video. So when we get this automation up and running, there's a few quirks about it, which is hilarious, which I'll walk through. My chat greatly helped with that. And I really enjoyed actually streaming this idea before. That is a cursed ship name named by the YouTube members. But I really enjoyed walking through this build before because I learned so much and made this build so much better with your guys' help. So what does automation building do? Well, per building or district that it's built in will have an 8 upkeep. Now, luckily for us, or not lucky, depending on how you look at it, generators per job, or at least the 25% that we can work, because we cannot work these technicians, no, will produce about 8 energy. However, there's ways to buff and actually scale it so that we're not stuck in producing nothing, basically. The extradition, there's no point waiting for cloning, biogenesis, mutation, whatever. So what will benefit us now? Empire size from pops and pop upkeep reduction, even though we're maxed. But less crime, more stability, harmony is a really good pick. However, prosperity is going to give us more resources right now. So we're going to go that, as we'll get more from mining stations, more from jobs, less upkeep from jobs, less cost on infrastructure. Yeah, we have to go that. So when we actually work these jobs, you can see there are no pops working this. So this is still civilian only, just the automation producing us 7. The upkeep is 8. However, if we go to policies and activate capacity subsidies, this 50% bonus actually works for the automation. I don't know why, just does. See, now we're producing 10. So now we're making profit. We can also stack that with an energy grid, which is going to give 20% more output. And then we can just actually build more districts as these percentages stack up quicker than the base cost of 8 per district. If that makes sense. It's a bit wild, but it works. It just works. Level up our archaeologist to level 2. Very nice. And because we got automation so quickly, it might have been worth not producing this many clone vats on a planet, but we could destroy one and branch out and then produce more consumer goods. Let's try it. I'm going to do that. Let's colonize one of the planets, build a vat there, and see what happens. Maybe it's even better doing it that way. And also these techs that give energy credits from technicians also apply. So yeah, it will go a bit crazy. And you can see we're at 1,000 unity and 526 science in 9 years. Mental. Now, every time we build a district, we have to get rid of the jobs. It's very annoying. We're at 21 now. The upkeep is 14.4 because we do get upkeep reductions on these two. So anything that reduces upkeep from buildings or districts will work as well. It's ridiculous how you can actually scale, and like our trade is great. The only issue is consumer goods, which we can also, yes, fix with the automation. It's a bit mad. Now, automation can also be placed in these districts to work whatever zones we have going, which we may do. We may turn the archives into consumer goods, but it will also work the crime reductions. So our crime won't be too bad. So I might actually build one. Our energy's fine, mainly because they keep working the damn jobs. Prosperity's now done. We got another ascension perk. Now you could just go crazy and literally go a crisis path. I'm not going to do that here. You could do that in your games if you want to. I might take Defender of the Galaxy so everyone just loves us when we meet them. Yeah, easier to vassal them. Council is expanded. We're going to go for the agenda speed because the upkeep doesn't really matter here. I'd like to go both, to be honest. And look at that. Arc furnaces. Very nice. This will give us a healthy supply of minerals and alloys, so we don't actually ever have to automate alloys and minerals, just everything else that we can't get from space. Next tradition, we're over our empire size. No, we're getting 0% cost to techs. Let's now go harmony and reduce empire size from pops, and then we'll reduce crime because the crime's also getting a bit high for my liking. I can't lie. And since the automation building's built here, we now need to put 25% on every job. Yes, even the physicists that are producing one of things, but we may as well. Like, we're paying for it. Crime reduction is very nice as well, and we get a bit of unity here, which doesn't matter. And we just keep going crazy with generated districts to pay for the automation on other planets. We have found someone. We don't have the military strength to take them yet, but we will just start embassying and improving because we might be able to just vassal them when we get a fleet going. Who knows? Now down to 0 crime. Beautiful. Isn't this build just so beautiful? Literally the only annoying part is reducing the jobs every time you build something. Arc furnace is about to be done, and look at our capital. 20 arc deposits, always consistent. Let's build an arc furnace straight away. Get that going. Now you do want to keep an eye for rare resource buildings, as because we're going to get consumer goods on the second planet, we will also get rare resources, which then means we can build an energy nexus, which will give us even more energy. It's such a weird way of playing, but it works, guys. It works. Civilians are producing a bunch of stuff. We just need to fix that consumer goods, which we're gonna do. We've finally finished the debated origin path. Now we have to wait for that sort of stuff to fire. We will start saving the unity. We do have history. We will always face reality. It's always the best option. Don't lie to your people, and the people will pay you back. Now we are lacking food, which is very annoying. I should have been better at building star bases. That's a big skill issue. See, we get honorable leadership, 10% unity, and 10% happiness. Let's stop buying monthly and just buy a mass of food. Then we can come over and activate fortify the border. We may as well do plentitude. The rest have no impact. Now I'm just going to go around and build 5 star bases, which we can put hydro base on, which will be going to pay back. And on this new planet, we do need to build that ancient clone vat. We can't actually get one because because we need to destroy one of these, we waited till the last possible moment so we can benefit from the growth. Then we'll build one here, and then we're going to make this civilian industries. We definitely want to get a monument, and we definitely want to stop them working. Hopefully they don't leave. Yeah, they become civilians. Nice. We have that clone vat now. We then want to build a normal clone vat, and with all these star bases now popping up, we can also build the trade hubs, which are going to give us 8 trade each. Doesn't really matter, but it helps. Like, we have 438 trade, mainly for those hydro bays, which give us food. Harmony's now done. Ascension effect plus 25% is going to be very nice for when we ascend planets. And I think we save the unity and ascension perk so we can get biomorphosis. Actually, we could go another tradition, mainly because we just need one tradition slot. I know we're going to have enough unity. I think we'll go supremacy, as that will buff up our ships, which will make vassaling a lot easier. Clone fertility, we can do biocode cipher, which we'll do straight away. You can see our tech is completely eclipsing everything everywhere because we're 654. Just a little. This council upgrade is insane. We're reducing pop upkeep and increasing trade. And I don't think we're actually getting much from the pop upkeep, but the trade is very good. Let's get monthly trade again. Just boosts up our consumer goods, which we were running a little bit low on. Now we finish biocipher, we can go fertility or potential. We're going to go fertility so we can actually take every single planet and just start growing naturally. Now we didn't get all of the clone pops we could from the vats, but we got a hell of a lot of pops. An insane amount of pop. Remember, reduce the consumer good workers. Then we want to build automation building, and then we're going to build gases and consumer goods so we can start getting rare resources. We then can get the archive because clones give us key to civilian fertility, pop growth speed 6%. We will definitely try and get that when we get enough alloys. Automation's online. We can start producing consumer goods. It's not a lot, but we're just going to go crazy, basically. We can also reduce upkeep there. And then we just build as many damn city districts as we can. As the more we build, the more consumer goods we get. I just got a subterranean invasion. What? Why? I'm so confused. I needed those consumer goods. How dare you? What? I'm fairly sure I can make up a strong enough fleet take that back. A bit annoying. We can show the power of this build. But we can go biomorphosis now anyway. I'm still so confused. Now we absolutely are going to want to go for cloning on the first option, as we'll get more monthly pop growth. Actually, do we want to do that? We can barely work those jobs. Let's go mutation because we get the cool more job efficiency for every 10% above habitability. I like that. And we can't actually advance this situation without genomic research facility, but that's fine. We can build one and it will do it, and the automation can kind of work it as well. Also, we did lose all our clone vats, which is sad. Rest in peace, clone vats. We can also now colonize all the worlds because we are not clones. I will probably wait for these planets though, but we can't colonize. Okay, I want my planet back. Let's conquer that. I genuinely have no idea how they spawned. I don't remember seeing an event. Maybe I'm being stupid. Probably, most likely me being stupid. It literally didn't even have a fleet. Very confused. We get our planet back. Huzzah. And don't work any of these jobs, please. Ah, my clone vat's gone. At least most of the stuff is still there. Build genomic research facility. Oh, none of the rare resources. So annoying, because I was about to ramp it up so much. We need to set their rights to Utopian as well. Probably should set the default rights to Utopian in case we get any other pops. Our Archfinis is now producing alloys. However, we do have an energy issue. The Archfinis does have 80 energy upkeep, so we really need to get those dice and swarms. Hopefully we get it in the next couple tags. That would be nice. We're up to 26 consumer goods. I'm very tempted to build another state academy. I'm doing it. We can disable it if it's too much. And we got dice and swarm on the next roll. I am sometimes always lucky. We definitely want heritage site. This will give us more unity. I don't know if it gives more trade, the upgrade. We'll see, I guess. We're at minus 92 consumer goods, but almost 1,000 science and too much unity. We do have to disable this, unfortunately. But just to check, we are working just civilians. Okay, the elites level, that's not my fault. Okay, not my fault. But mainly working civilians. Get that Dyson Swarm down on the 9-star, please. I just need this planet online. All the civilian industries, please. Okay, we definitely want to focus on cloning here. We get artificial population, which will give us more job efficiency. But we also get monthly pop growth, which we just want pops. Pops are our resource, quite literally. They're inferior to us. I think we can just go and get a vassal to get our basic resources going even more. Now we start getting more and more planets, monuments. Excellent. I guess we just make it consumer goods as well. now. We're now producing all rare resources, which means we can buy them from the civilian industry. It will go up as we actually get more civilian industries. We are looking for the upgraded automation because that gives 50%, which is going to buff everything that we have going even more. But let's go make a tributary to try and pay for my energy and consumer goods. Off we go. So job efficiency doesn't apply to the automation. It's really weird. It's the only thing that doesn't. I believe upkeep reduction does. Optimized building. There it is. It's a rare research, but we can finally grab that and we can finally kill them. Ah, look at them go. Disruptors plus mandibles is so good. So we can reform government to get an extra civic. Our pops are giving us the most issue in terms of empire size. We could go Beacon of Liberty, minus 15% from pops. We don't need the pop consumer good upkeep because we have minus 0%. We could get the stability from shared burdens, but that doesn't really matter. Literally, the only useful civic here is Beacon of Liberty, and we don't even care about the unity. And something interesting is we could try and reform out of parliamentary systems to then grab crowdsourcing, which would give us science instead of unity, because our unity is fine. We're just saving the rest for cloning when we can get it. But we can't have a fanatic ethic, which means we need another faction so we can reform out of a fanatic one, which we're not getting anytime soon. So now we can actually choose some good positions. We can reduce upkeep from jobs. Let's get agenda speed. Let's reduce upkeep. And for the last pick, we're actually going to go mutation because it's going to give us some insane traits and Leviathan traits and habitability, which combines quite well. We also did get our Dyson Swarm. We need to upgrade that as soon as we can. And we now have our first vassal who are giving us 30% of their resources, which is quite a bit of resources. It's just a shame we've not found any other empire. It would have been very nice. But we can now upgrade our automation buildings, which is going to tank our energy, but not if we can increase our energy. But as you can see, we're 28 years in. Everything is insane. Now we can go down cloning, and we can instantly finish cloning because we have a billion unity. We can then reduce our empire size from pops even more. We'll take that. And we just have ascension perks. Why not go for xenocompatibility, which is going to give us more pop growth for more civilians. We can then save our ascension perks for Master Builder and Galactic Wonders. And with all the spare unity, why don't we just ascend our planets, reduce empire size and more? Now, you could absolutely do the civilian only shenanigans and actually work jobs, if that makes sense. Like, make your economy fully focus early on civilians to get that fast start. There's so many jobs we have to keep removing as well. It's very annoying. But if you weren't a stickler for this challenge, like what I'm doing at the minute, you'd absolutely go crazy. And what exactly did this cloning shenanigans give us? Well, we get reduced clone VAT upkeep. We can modify our pops in a moment. We also get better clone VATs. We also get more clone VATs per capital building. We then get that habitability buffs, more traits, and less crime. On our capital, we can actually build 4 clone VATs. You heard that right. And we can remove the archive for an urban thingy. Or to 1K science because we enabled another data academy. We can even upgrade them to double the tech, but then it also doubles the consumer goods. Now we can create a template like increasing our pop growth speed with fertility, increase our minimum habitability and pop growth speed. And why not reduce our housing usage to minus 100%? We can apply that, set as default, and set you to just start integrating into it. And we're just going to be at max trade so often. We could just start mass buying like consumer goods to stockpile them. And a cheesy thing we can do is resettle pops from our capital, then upgrade a building so that then we can build more clone VATs because we can upgrade it. It's dumb, which then means more pop growths, which means more pops, which means more consumer goods, which means more trade, which means more science. And then to actually build any ships, we create a juvenile here to be literally empty, turn off auto upgrade, and then we make the designs we want. The juvenile actually needs the growth gland, my bad, save those. Then in the mature, we want it to grow, and the elder, we want sublight speed and evasion. We do have to go for reactor, but that's fine. And then we just spam a bunch of juveniles. They grow up into these. The juveniles cost only 187 food and 0.47 exotic gases. So we can just start spamming those with any spare food that we get, which isn't going to be a lot to start with, as food is hard to come by. That's why you need to get vassals. But we found the Great Reef, and I bet we can make tribute to it. We can. So we may as well go do that. And because we have so much trade, we can mass buy food. Oh, it's so dumb. And remember, this is 30 years into the game. We have infinite unity. We can just constantly ascend every planet, which just reduces the empire size, really. I guess urban worlds give us a bit of trade bonus, which is helpful. We don't even have state academies on the other planets. It's dumb. It's just the consumer goods are the issue. I'm gonna try and upgrade one here. Since we have the most pops here, it's probably the best to do it. Like, we have infinite housing as well. It's just very dumb. And I also forgot to build a Grand Archive. Okay, let's make Tribute Tree. Hopefully we're fine against them. We do only have 4.4k, but it should be fine. Remember, we can go above the habitability as well. For every 10%, we're getting bonuses. We're at 100% stability anyway. We did get another civilian. Yeah, consumer goods drop, but we're at almost 2k science. And these have become a protectorate, which is very annoying, but we can raise our basic tax to 45%, unified sensors, make them like us, and then we'll just grab like a holding, I guess. Maybe we can build something useful. You can even go a bit crazy and just spam rush agendas to level up any leaders that you want to do. Every time you activate, they get XP. Again, this probably will change when factions aren't completely and utterly broken. We've now got an authoritarian. We could like just promote them to then try and embrace them, to like do things they like progressive vassalage. Once it gets to 20% support, we can embrace and then put the science one on, because we don't need the unity. We have another vassal. Again, basic resources will just now go to the moon, and this is all 34 years in. It's going to be a win, and to prove it's not luck, here is the end of the stream from the other day. You can see we're actually 53 years in. We have 6,000 research, 6,000 unity, and it just goes crazy. Like, this is not as optimized as what we were doing, but like, our civilians are producing 2,000 research each just on this planet. We haven't even built the State Academy on these other planets because we're relying solely on that automation for the consumer goods, and we're just spamming that everywhere we can. We were trying to go Behemoth Crisis path, but the food was quite hard to get to until we start vassalizing. If you enjoy Stellaris content and breaking the game like this, my channel is Stellaris. You may as well subscribe. Check out this Hive video where I use one of the new civics combined with an old one to vassalize the galaxy without declaring war. It's crazy. You can do some wacky stuff in this update. Click here to watch it now.